Well. Good morning, West Ham fans. David Moyes has just finished his press conference ahead of the Man United game. Yes, there was a question or two about Sai Ben-Rama and Pablo Fornals. Yes, everybody, Russ on the West Ham Network, and it's Hammers Headlines. It's an early Hammers Headlines in association with the KUMB.com boys. As always, the day before or the week or Friday before the weekend, we do the David Moyes press conference ahead of the weekend's fixture. Obviously, play Man United at Man United on Sunday, and obviously, it's been an eventful last sort of 12 hours or so. Obviously, the 1-1 draw, not so eventful in all honesty. I'll be doing my ratings, and we'll have Dan from Wahala, the band, is a big West Ham fan, coming on talking about their game as well. And then obviously everything else, which is pretty much overshadowed the bore fest that was the 1-1 draw with Bournemouth. And but obviously we play Man United as well on Sunday, so we've got sort of several balls up in the air. Let's talk about the Pablo Fornals and Ben-Rama deal, because obviously at the moment, according to Darmesh, an IT issue caused the Pablo Fornals deal to not be ratified. Moyes will speak about that. He spoke about that in the press conference. Obviously, the Ben-Rama deal, we've had the fallout from Leon in terms of West Ham not providing any documentation at all. When asked about that particularly, this is what Moyes said. It looks like there's been some problems with the paperwork for Ben-Rama at the last minute, but I only learnt about it when I came off the pitch last night. I think there is a chance the Pablo deal will be ratified. I can't confirm if it will or will not at the moment. We wanted to strengthen, and we worked really hard to bring in an attacking player as well, but we couldn't just quite get there. So that's the rhetoric that is coming out of Moyes. To be honest, I think Moyes has actually positioned himself quite well in this. He's I'm not involved in transfers anymore. It's all Tim. He's struggling, and he's sort of taken a step back, so none of this can fall on him. But yeah, it does seem it seems more likely that the Ben-Rama deal isn't happening, particularly with what happened with the way Leon came out with their statement, saying how West Ham didn't do what they thought he was going to do, and so they're being reported to FIFA and whatever. And I think that by the sounds of it, in terms of the Pablo Fornals deal, it does seem to be slightly more of a technical issue. But there's been a catalogue over the last few days of these types of things. We'll probably talk about more at lunchtime today, no doubt. But that's where we are at the moment. So we may see a situation where Ben-Rama is still a West Ham player. Would it surprise me if he goes on strike? No, not at all. Is he willing his right? I think so. I genuinely think so. It's like the club had done him dirty. If it was even I'm not being funny, we're in terms of technical errors and things like that, I can understand the Fornals one. I mean, the Real Betis president's come out. He's been almost like it hasn't been like a formal statement as such. He's just, did an interview and said, yeah, it's all just IT stuff. We can sort that out. So, but it's the Leon one, which is interesting. Surely we still owe them some money for Paqueta as well. I don't know. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. Let's talk about the game on Sunday. Man United team news, obviously. Moyes said in terms of team news, I can't really tell you right now because obviously it's 9 o'clock. It's just literally just turned up, really. It's a quick turnaround, but hopefully everyone will be okay. There's no more updates on where we are. We're still dealing with the players that we have injured, and that's where we are. Lucas Paqueta won't be back this weekend, and Mikel Antonio is back running on the grass. Apart from that, I think that's about it. No mention about Naya Figuered, which is interesting. Obviously, you'd imagine to be back from the Africa Cup of Nations. We know he's fit. He's been playing loads of games. He's been playing 90 minutes. He's played 4 90-minute games, something like that. So we know he's over his flu, or whatever he had. So for me, he comes straight in and, and Zuma gets dropped because, I mean, yeah, it was such a poor performance from him yesterday. And someone put on Twitter, he was walking around. It was like some old-fashioned walk he was doing, like Ministry of. It's so true. He was like hobbling around the whole time. He looked like he was literally ice skating with trainers on. which was he just seemed to like have no balance at all. I don't know what was up with him at all. Obviously, went 1-0 down yesterday, got the equaliser. We are still scoring goals, but we're leaking them as well. Asked about scoring goals, he said we've got Mohamed Kudus back, who made the goal last night. We're without Paqueta and Antonio at the moment, which is probably mitigating certain circumstances as to why we're not getting many goals at the moment. I don't think that's the case. I don't think it's the case because the fact is Thomas Souček, regardless of what you say, is having the goal scoring season of his life at West Ham. He's got 8 goals so far this season. I think his best has been 10. He's currently in the top 10 of our all-time Premier League goal scorers of all time. I just don't think we're not playing well enough to score goals. It was a penalty last night. I think we probably had, I can't think of any decent shots that Neto made, in all honesty. Everything was overhit. Everything was overpassed. Everything didn't get to feet. Everything was a little bit too far forward. Everything was very... It's like they just all came together. I likened it to the first day back from school, in terms of summer holidays, when you get a pen and you forget to write, and like your hand hurts because you're writing with a pen. You haven't written with a pen for 6 weeks. That's what it looked like for us. It looked like a pre-season game, where we're just sort of all getting all the rust out of it. And if that's it, and I take it, and if that's it, and then we turn up for Man United, I'm okay with that. But I don't think we will do. Asked about Ten Hag, and there wasn't many questions about Man United, to be honest. He basically said Eric is in a privileged position to be manager of Manchester United. I think he understands and respects it. I think he's tried to force the way he wants his team to play and work, and I can only give him credit for that. When you're in a job, you're expected to win and play well. In that job, David, in a job, I think they certainly got a great result away at Wolves last night. It was a crazy game at Wolves, wasn't it? 4-3, lots of last minute equalizers and things like that. Very, very, really strange game. I was chatting to Anton on the way back to the car, and he's like, "Oh, okay, yeah. Oh no, I've equalised. Oh, they've scored. Bollocks!" And obviously, we got a 1-1 draw, and it's 3 consecutive draws in a row now. Arguably 3 points where we should have probably got at least 6, if not 9, to be perfectly frank, in terms of the sides we played, and particularly Bournemouth. Bournemouth haven't beaten us in since COVID. Since the pandemic, they haven't beaten us in, and obviously that continued yesterday for a draw, but I'd have preferred the win much, definitely. Asked about the drawing, he says sometimes you have to make sure you don't lose. We're not conceding too many goals, but we've not had loads of goal scoring chances either. Got an idea for that, David? Don't play 4 defensive 4 midfielders, attention midfielders. We can play better. We know that. I gauge my team by our performances, and the performances are what we want to improve. But we're getting results and points without necessarily playing well as we'd like. But we could have got a lot more points if we played better, surely. And that was it. It's always short and sweet when it's the day after. I'm sure there'll be more. That was obviously the broadcast section. There'll obviously be the embargo section, which will come out tonight, usually about 10:30. I imagine there'll be a lot more questioning about Pablo Fornals, about Ben Rama. To be honest, that has overshadowed what was a very poor performance yesterday. So it's and to come away with a point. I mean, thankfully we've got a lot of points in the bag already. So I think the game's come too soon for obviously Paqueta and potentially Antonio. I wouldn't be surprised to maybe see Antonio on the bench for Sunday, maybe. But by the sounds of it, Paqueta is likely to be back for the Arsenal game next week. But we need something. We need something different for Sunday, don't we? Really. Maybe Side Ben Rama comes in. All has been forgiven. Who knows? I don't think so. Anyway, until then, keep an eye on the channel. We're back at lunchtime with the ratings. Until then, take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, keep the faith. Come on, you irons.